All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, we'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakah, Quadash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Salutations to you, brothers that push this word in truth and in sincerity. So, like it real quick, let me go ahead and do this real quick. Let me put my airplane mode on.
Brothers might have to speak up a little bit too.
So Great Millstone Northwest coming back. We want to get into a lesson dealing with Revelation 13th chapter from verse 11 through verse 13. And just to edify specifically on the 13th verse, give some clarification on that. So if a brother want to go ahead and start at verse 11.
It's Revelation 13 and 11. It says, "And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon, and he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and he causeth the earth and them which dwelt therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed."
Right. So, the brother, the elder Yashawamba did a beautiful lesson earlier today, going in on breaking this whole chapter down. All right. So the first beast, that received that deadly wound, but it was healed, is referring to the Roman Empire, the ancient Roman Empire, the pagan Roman Empire. Okay, and America is a part of the revived Roman Empire. Now, the beast itself, dealing with NATO, the EU, the same power structure that was set up with the Romans and the vassal states that the Romans had pretty much control over. You see back in the earth today in the form of NATO in the EU. Okay, and dealing with America in particular, the two sides the lamb. It says, and he had two horns like a lamb and spake as a dragon. Okay, so America, when it comes to politics, it deals primarily with Democrats and Republicans. Anybody, according to American law or whatever, anybody can have a grassroots political party, and try to get it put on the ballot, or
It's like casting a lot. Anybody can cast a lot to be a politician.
Yeah.
It's all about money.
Right. Yeah, but despite that, the two prominent political parties are the Republicans and the Democrats, right? And it says that they had two horns like a lamb, but spake as a dragon. Now, a lamb is a non-threatening animal, but a dragon is known for being cruel. All right, and with the way things is going and have been going within the world, you know what I'm saying? You see that, dealing with America, America and these other, European, are beast member states that are part of the beast, such as you got well, we'll get into that. I don't want to jump the gun on, but they have these buttery words, but it's fierce and cruel. You know what I'm saying? It's fierce and cruel. The end result of what they say is fierce and cruel. It used to be they would say buttery things, and now they just flat out telling you that that draconian.
They don't give a fuck.
Yeah, the draconian laws.
Yep.
Okay.
Speaking as a dragon with the draconian laws.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Can I read this real quick?
Mm-hmm.
This is Psalms 55 and 21. And being what you brothers had just mentioned.
Yeah, I'm good.
Psalms chapter 55, verse 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart, and his words were softer than oil, yet they were drawn swords.
And it's clear to see from the laws that they passed that war's in their hearts, man. The NDAAs, the fucking Alfred Plan, the what's the
NDRP.
The NDRP. They got a couple other ones. I forget the names of the joints, but there's a bunch of them that they got in play.
Yep.
You know, so they didn't put those in legislation for no reason.
Yeah, in the ancient Roman Empire, you had the plebeians and the patricians,
Yep.
which is nothing more than the Democrats and Republicans coming back all over again. So that in itself shows that America is coming in that same spirit of ancient Rome. Okay, if a brother want to read verse 13.
Yeah, 13, verse 13. It says, "And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire." Oh, we never read 12.
Oh yeah, Salaki.
Verse 12.
No, we read 12.
Oh, you read 12.
You can read it again though.
Oh, we did, yeah.
Yep, you read 12.
Verse 12 it says, "And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him."
And what made Rome so powerful was the fact that they had that military might, and it's the same thing as you have now with America, with the NATO. You know what I'm saying? Because America is a part of NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, and America is a spearhead of that organization when it comes to military might. All right.
Yeah.
They're
DC.
the big threat.
Mm-hmm.
DC. That's
Yep.
where military might come from.
Yep.
Reading on, it says, "And causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed."
That first beast, like the brother said, it was Rome, and that deadly wound being healed is this the whole system that's in play right now, which is just it's modeled directly after how the Romans got down. You know, the Romans, they would go and conquer and heap onto them more military might, and that's exactly what you see happening in the earth, or what you have seen happen in the earth with the current rulership system that they have in play right now.
Yeah. Because Rome, what Rome had to do to keep thriving was they had to keep conquering. That's the only way they could keep their system moving, because it was all based off of new gotten gains. They couldn't float if they wasn't bringing in new money, because they was bringing too many people.
Yeah, treaty.
Yeah.
I mean, tribute. Excuse me.
Tributaries. Yeah.
You know, same thing with America. America allows all these other nations to heathens and refugees or whatnot to come to America, and that is pretty much a means of generating a gain. You know,
Same thing with
tribute.
Same thing with like they'll put it up as a humanitarian
Efforts,
going to these other countries to do humanitarian things for them and to fund their infrastructure and to help build them up. And realistically, they're just sucking them dry for all their resources or anything that they
setting up puppets so they can keep that fucking democracy going.
Yep.
You know,
The hamster wheel going.
Yep.
Verse 13 says, "And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from
Oh, so like in that beast whose deadly wound was healed, as apostles went into it this past week at camp, is not talking about Caesar Borgia, because you got individuals out there, certain camps that believe that the beast that received that deadly wound was Caesar Borgia. Well, if that's the case, you don't see no example throughout history of Caesar Borgia dying and coming back to life.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's how you know it's not talking about Caesar Borgia. Okay?
Yeah.
It's talking about the ancient Roman Empire, because the ancient Roman Empire, the Western Roman Empire fell, as the elder Yashwamba went into in his video. The Western Roman Empire fell. All right, and you had Jake that came into power, and you had the Holy Roman Empire, but that was only for roughly a period of 1,000 years, and then Esau came back into power, you know, via the Renaissance.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. The rebirth.
Yep.
Verse 13 it says, "And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men."
Right. Now that's the point. So, you know, in times past, brothers used to preach and teach that was talking about Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but it's not. So we're gonna grab some articles to edify. All right. Now, this first article is from Britannica.com, and it reads Atomic Bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. All right. It says atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki during World War II. American bombing raids on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima, August 6, 1945, and Nagasaki, August 9th, 1945, that marked the first use of atomic weapons in war. Tens of thousands were killed in the initial explosions, and many more would later succumb to radiation poisoning. On August 10th, one day after the bombing of Nagasaki, the Japanese government issued a statement agreeing to accept the Allied surrender terms that had been dictated in the Potsdam Declaration. All right, now a key point to take away from that is that these bombings happened from August 6, 1945 through August 9th, 1945, all right, during World War II. Now, when we get our next article,
Should I go to the next one?
yeah,
Okay.
because another thing to mention, when you read Revelation 13, in verse 11, it says, "And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth." Okay, so we know what that beast is. Now, what you gotta be able to distinguish or extrapolate or what's the word? Identify when that beast actually came about or came into power.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember that in verse 12 it had that wound unto death, but it was healed. So for a period of time it wasn't a factor in the earth. You know, that's why we constantly say that the revived Roman Empire. Well, if it was revived, when did it get revived? And that's what we're going to go into. Now, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, those bombings were in 1945 during World War II. And according to history, you didn't the NATO, all right, the beast, they weren't even around in 1945.
Right.
Okay, so
Another important thing to that should be highlighted here inside this article from Britannica is that it says that atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki during World War II, American bombing raids on
Yeah.
Japanese cities.
yeah.
Right. So it points it out that was just America alone. It wasn't there wasn't other countries that helped or assisted within those bombings, which kind of illustrates that's not what's being spoken about in Revelation 13.
The water, great point. Yep. So that was America, acting alone, so to say.
Being a lone actor. Or
Yeah.
Call it
A lone ranger.
Yeah, a sole lone.
Yeah.
Lone actor.
Because America in the scriptures is known as the whore. It's not known as the beast.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the woman that's riding that beast.
The whore the whore on the beast.
Exactly.
Now, let's get the Treaty of Rome.
Mm-hmm.
If a brother want to read that.
Got it. This is a Treaty of Rome from Wikipedia. All right, it says the Treaty of Rome, or EEC Treaty, officially the treaty establishing the European Economic Community, brought about the creation of the European Economic Community, EEC, the best known of the European communities, EC. The treaty was signed on 25 March 1957 by Belgium, France, Italy, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, and West Germany, and it came into force on 1 January 1958. Originally, the treaty established the European Economic Community, and now continuing under the name Treaty on the Functioning of the European Union, it remains one of the two most important treaties in what is now the European Union.
Right. So this title alone, the Treaty of Rome, lets you know that this is that first beast being revived. This is that beast that had that deadly wound and was healed. And as you can see, it came about in 1957. All right, so that is
12 years after
12 years after Nagasaki and Hiroshima, in the World War II. So that's how we know that Revelation 13 and 13 is not talking about the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It's referring to Kosovo, the bombing of Kosovo, which we'll get and edify on that. All right, now we can hop to the next article. All right.
It's the NATO one, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. This is from Britannica. All right. It says North Atlantic Trade Organization.
Treaty.
I'm sorry. North Atlantic Treaty Organization. All right. It says North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, military alliance established by the North Atlantic Treaty, also called Washington Treaty of April 4, 1949.
Right. So it came about in 1949. So this is after World War II.
That's 4 years after.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
It says, which sought to create a counterweight to Soviet armies stationed in Central and Eastern Europe after World War II.
Right. And like the apostles were saying, that, NATO was formed to pretty much combat Russia, the USSR.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Because they was a major force back in those times.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
If you know anything about the Cold Wars, it was always America and Russia, the two head powers going at it,
Mm-hmm.
trying to stack as much weapons as possible.
Yeah.
Trying to fight for dominance.
Mm-hmm. Jockeying for position.
Mm-hmm.
Because you had a USSR that was moving westward, and NATO was not. The European Union wasn't trying to have that. They didn't want the Russians moving west, because that would mean they would take over Europe.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It says its original members were Belgium, Canada, Denmark, France, Iceland, Italy, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, Norway, Portugal, the United Kingdom, and the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Joining the original signatories were Greece and Turkey in 1952, West Germany 1955, from 1990 as Germany, Spain 1982, the Czech Republic, Hungary, and Poland 1999, Bulgaria, Estonia,
Latvia,
Lithuania, Romania, Slovakia, and Slovenia 2004, Albania and Croatia in 2009, and
Montenegro
2017, and North Macedonia in 2020. Damn, they still accept it. France withdrew from the Integrated Military Command of NATO in 1966, but remained a member of the organization.
Right. So it said that they withdrew from the Integrated Military Command. So pretty much, they're part of the of NATO, but they don't want to necessarily be responsible for having to get down.
Yeah. Like, we still give you guys a tribute, pay y'all, but we ain't trying to send our forces. Like, fuck that.
They ain't trying to take that L.
Mm-hmm.
One thing you got to know about France is France lost big time in World War II. That country, their country got ravished and destroyed in World War II. So because the Germans really fucked them up. So
They're still bouncing back.
Yeah, They want to be lovey dovey instead of knuckling up.
They lovers. They ain't fighters.
It says it resumed its position in NATO's military command in 2009. Finland and Sweden, two long neutral countries, were formally invited to join NATO in 2022.
Right. So this is going into like we were talking about NATO, which is that beast, came into power in 1949. So this was after the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now we'll get the next article, in which is going to edify on the bombing of Yugoslavia.
The Wikipedia one, right?
Yeah. Because you got to remember, you got to think about when is the first time, as it says in Revelation 13:13, and he doeth great wonders, that he maketh fire to come down, referring to the beast.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the beast, which is NATO. So when is the first time that they use those bombs, in the sight of men, as it says, so that he maketh fire to come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. All right. Go ahead.
This is from Wikipedia. NATO bombing of Yugoslavia says the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, carried out an aerial bombing campaign against the Federal Republic of Yugoslavia during the Kosovo War. The airstrikes lasted from 24 March 1999 to 10 June 1999. The bombings continued until an agreement was reached that led to the withdrawal of Yugoslav armed forces from Kosovo and the establishment of the United Nations Interim Administration Mission in Kosovo, a UN peacekeeping mission in Kosovo. The official NATO operation code name was Operation Allied Force, whereas the United States called it Operation Noble Anvil. In Yugoslavia, the operation was incorrectly called Merciful Angel, possibly as a result of a misunderstanding or mistranslation.
All right. So this in Kosovo was the first time that NATO, which is the beast, used bombs. It pretty much dropped bombs on the earth. You know what I'm saying? Not on some we're testing these, but no, we're going to war and we're dropping bombs on the country. This was the first time the beast actually did that.
Did an offensive strike.
Yeah. So let's get this last article.
Did you want anything
And,
underneath that, or
No, that's pretty
Okay.
much the point.
all right?
Hold on, let me see.
If you scroll past all the flags and whatnot,
Yeah.
there's a paragraph down there that starts getting into it.
3
paragraphs.
I mean that's it's, it's all
Yeah.
good.
Next article
Yeah.
from the history.
I want to. Let's try to find that the point when they talked about the Americans. They blamed the Americans when they dropped on the goops.
Oh,
Because this is pretty much going into the same thing we just read, but
yeah.
letting you know, because the scriptures talk about the horde that rides on that beast, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which that horde that rides on the beast is America. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Where's it at?
It's on the history one. And it's a few paragraphs down.
A few down, yeah.
1,
Okay,
2,
I see it.
3,
I got it.
4. You got it.
Yeah.
5,
Yeah.
6, 7 down.
Yeah.
So this article is from history.com. It's titled.
Read the one up above it. In addition to Serbian military positions.
Okay, it's titled "This Day in History," and it's for 1999, March 24. NATO bombs Yugoslavia. All right, and we're gonna start. You said in addition.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna start midway down. It says, in addition to Serbian military positions, the NATO air campaign targeted Serbian government buildings and the country's infrastructure in an effort to destabilize the Milosevic regime. The bombing and continued Serbian offensives drove hundreds of thousands of Kosovar Albanians into neighboring Albania, Macedonia, and Montenegro. Many of these refugees were airlifted to safety in the United States and other NATO nations. On June 10, the NATO bombardment ended when Serbia agreed to a peace agreement calling for the withdrawal of Serb forces from Kosovo and their replacement by NATO peacekeeping troops. With the exception of 2 U.S. pilots killed in the training mission in Albania, no NATO personnel lost their lives in the 78-day operation. There were some mishaps, however, such as miscalculated bombings that led to the deaths of Kosovar Albanian refugees, KLA members, and Serbian civilians.
Right. So it mentioned a couple mishaps. Okay. Go ahead.
The most controversial incident was the May 7 bombing of the Chinese embassy in Belgrade, which killed 3 Chinese journalists and caused a diplomatic crisis in U.S.-Chinese relations.
Yeah. So the point being that it said that there was on May 7th there was a bombing of the Chinese embassy, which was a mishap in Belgrade, which killed 3 Chinese journalists and caused a diplomatic crisis in U.S.-Chinese relations. So this bombing by NATO, all right, which was supposedly an accident. Someone hold Revelation 17 and 4. Start at 3. But so this bombing that NATO had carried out on this Chinese embassy was America pretty much was the blame for that. America took the brunt of the blame for that because
they're the one that controls.
They're the ones
riding that beast.
Yeah.
Whoever's riding. So if you're riding a horse,
if you're a drunk driver, you got your Edomite homie in the car with you. You got your Elamite homie in the car with you. Your Gook homie in the car with you. Your other Gook homie. You know what I'm saying? You got a bunch of heathens in the car with you. You driving. You're gonna be responsible if the car you hit, somebody dies.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They weren't driving. Yeah, they might have been complicit with you and all for you speeding and shit and doing crazy shit. But if you actually crash, you're responsible. So America being, the head of NATO, was to blame for that. So that in itself proves prophecy.
Yep.
If you want to grab that in Revelation 17 and
this is Revelation 17 and 3. It says, "So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns."
Right, and that's the wilderness referring to America, and the 7 heads and 10 horns referring to the EU. Okay.
You said the wilderness. So you meant to say the woman.
No. It said
Wilderness is America.
Yeah, it said the woman sit upon. It said so he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness.
Oh, okay.
Because that's referring to America. All right, and a woman, which is America, sit upon the scarlet colored beast. That's referring to EU, NATO, or NATO, and the 7 heads and 10 horns is referring to the EU.
For clarification, even for myself, the the wilderness is America as a place, and then the woman is America as
as one on the beast.
Right, as the force that it is in the earth.
Mm-hmm.
People before you're a place.
Oh, go ahead.
Verse 4, it says, "And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication."
Right. All the wickedness that is promoted in the earth comes from America.
Mm-hmm.
All this same sex marriage stuff and pedophilia and trans this, trans that, cyborgs, all that. That's ushered out from Babylon the Great.
Yep.
All right, go ahead, bro.
Verse 5, it says, "And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth."
Right. What is that the point? Let me see. Hold on.
Verse 5.
Yeah, no. Let me see.
It's going to the earth being drunken with the blood of the saints. Next verse.
Hold on, I was looking for. Oh no, that was a. Hold on, let me see something real quick. Jump down to first verse 7.
Verse 7?
Yeah.
It says, verse 7, it says, "And the angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carrieth her, which have the 7 heads and 10 horns."
Right. So the woman, America, the beast, NATO, and the 7 heads and 10 horns being the EU. But the point being that the beast is carrying the woman, just like Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
You had what's the girl name?
Daenerys
Targaryen riding that dragon.
Mother of dragons.
That's America in NATO. Mm-hmm. And us bringing all this up was because we read in that article how America was they took the blame for the mishap that happened on the Chinese embassy, which shows that and that was a NATO mission operation, but here it is, America
Got the blame for it.
is getting in trouble for it, showing you that America spearheads NATO.
Yeah.
All right, but when we read up here in verse 3, it says, "Into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet colored beast."
Mm-hmm.
All right, so America is spearheads NATO, but so jumping back to Revelation 13 and 13, the point to take away. Lord willing, this being an edifying lesson for brothers, the point to take away is that Kosovo in 1999 is when the beast, all right, caused that fire to come down from heaven in a sight of men, because that's the first time that NATO pretty much bombed the earth.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It wasn't Hiroshima and Nagasaki, because NATO was not even founded in 1945?
Yep.
All right. They didn't come about until 1957, 12 years later. Okay. And then when they actually used, those bombs was in 1999. So that's when, this prophecy was fulfilled. And if brothers got anything else, we can wrap it up. All right. Well, yeah, Lord willing, that was edifying. We was kind of all over the place, but that's how the spirit be, man. But till next time, we say shalom, brothers.
Shalom.